Hi, and welcome to How to Declutter Your House Without Getting Overwhelmed. First, I'm going to share a story of what not to do. Then I'm going to teach you 2 methods that you can use to declutter your home. Next, I'm going to talk about what to do when you feel overwhelmed in the midst of decluttering. And then lastly, I'm going to talk about why your house will feel less overwhelming once you've decluttered it. So it's worth it to get through to the other side. So you'll want to stay on for that. First, I wanted to share the story of what not to do. I just was at a senior center giving education on decluttering and home safety, and a lovely woman spoke to me and she said, I started to declutter and get organized. I took everything out, and then I sorted it into piles, and then I fell. And then she ended up, there was a whole big story. She went to the hospital and rehab. And so when people were preparing the home for her return, they scooped everything up and put it all together. And the piles and sorting and organization, all her hard work was lost, completely lost. So that's what I would say not to do. Don't take everything out because it's extremely overwhelming. I run a professional organizing business, and so we do often take everything out, but that's because I know that we won't get overwhelmed in the middle and we're going to put everything back before we leave, right? But as just a regular person without professional experience, you're going to get overwhelmed. Don't do it. So there's 2 different strategies, and once you hear the strategies, you'll kind of see how they're similar, and you can sort of use a mixture of the 2 or come up with your own. But the first one is a no mess decluttering strategy, and I believe this is by the lovely woman. Her brand is A Slob Comes Clean, but it's no mess decluttering. And so the idea is, instead of taking everything out, what you want to do is look for things that you can pull out. So, you're going to, say, the front hall closet where you have things, and you are identifying, hey, here are some things that I can get rid of. And so what you want to do is begin taking those things out that don't belong in that space. So instead of taking it all out, you're leaving the things that belong there, and just getting out the things that don't belong, right? And it's usually kind of the same categories that we see over and over. Donation, items that you don't want but maybe are still good. Trash, things that are ripped, broken, they're not really good to anyone. Things you might want to sell if you're a seller. And then things that just don't belong there, right? Like, oh, how did that get there? So that's one decluttering strategy. The other part of that is, instead of making a pile, she kind of says to take it where it goes right away. So if you're looking again at the front hall closet and you're finding some extra purses and you're like, oh, actually these go in my personal closet, in my house, that would be upstairs. Let me take them upstairs to my personal closet where I keep the rest of my purses. So then you kind of take them there right away so you don't end up with these piles of things, right? Because I think the piles are what get really overwhelming. And then if you're interrupted or you run out of steam or energy, these piles, they can sit around for a long time, months, years, and also they can begin to get mixed back in or mixed up, and then all the sorting work that you've done goes to waste, right? So the more you can just kind of put the thing where it belongs right away. They also talk about if you have, maybe there's some library books to return, take those right to your car so then it's in the car. That might be annoying also, but at least in the process of decluttering your home, you're not going to get as overwhelmed. Okay, so that's method 1. Another method is called the 5 things method, and this is from the book How to Keep House While Drowning, which is a wonderful book. If you haven't heard of it, I recommend it, and I believe it's also an audiobook. And she came up, Casey Davis, she came up with a 5 things method. So she said in a room there's only 5 things, and you can count them on your hand, right? So that makes it very convenient. Dishes, laundry, garbage, things with homes, things without homes. I can't do that, Pinky. Things without homes. So basically, you are tidying up by category with this one. So, for example, if you're going to start with garbage, she recommends getting a rolling garbage can, which is great if you can, or pop your garbage can on a little, if you have a rolling platform or a rolling cart, or you can just drag a garbage bag around with you, which is what I do. But first you go through and like look for all the trash, and just gather all the trash. This is a great one. You can see then if you were interrupted, right? Like you ran out of energy, you were interrupted. It's like, well, I got all the garbage out, or I got half of the garbage out and I know exactly where I am to keep going tomorrow. But again, you're not really making piles. So then she talks about laundry, right? So clothing, blankets, socks, whatever is there that needs to do laundry, needs to be washed. So you would gather that stuff up and take it to the laundry room. Maybe put it in a laundry basket, take it to the laundry room. She suggests not to do the laundry, just get it to the laundry room. It's like, that's enough. Maybe laundry is at a different time. Then dishes, right? Again, can you gather any dishes that are in that room and put them by the sink or in the sink, however you do it, so that you can do the dishes later. So hopefully with that amount of things gone, right? Dishes, laundry, garbage. Now you're down to things with homes and things without homes. So the things that have homes, you begin to put them away. Okay. Oh, here's my child's block set. I know where to put that. Oh, here's some pictures. I have a place where I keep pictures. Oh, here's the hammer from that project. I know where the hammer goes. So you return items to those homes, and then you're left with things without homes. And that's sort of the true clutter, right? When you really get down to it, those are the things you can't put them away because you don't know where to put them away to. Maybe they're new, they haven't found a home yet. You're just not sure what to do with them. So that's the real clutter. So that's when you have to begin making decisions. But hopefully you've narrowed it down to a very small amount at that point. And so it's much less overwhelming even to make those decisions because now you have a small pile instead of everything. At that point, you're looking at things without homes, and you want to begin to decide, like, am I keeping this item? Is it useful for me? I want it. Okay, now I have to create the home for it. And at every step of this decluttering, volume is sort of a consideration that's not addressed in these methods. But, if there's too much volume, you might have a home for something, but if you have a home that maybe fits 10 mugs, but you own 30 mugs, it's not so much finding a home that's the problem, but it's keeping your most favorites and letting go of least favorites. Right? And that's difficult because you've already gotten rid of the trash and the things that are broken and easy to get rid of that you don't want. It's the things that you do want. That's why it's least favorites, right? They're still your favorites. So those are the two strategies, and you can see some similarities. In both of them, you're never like emptying a drawer out onto the floor or removing everything from your closet, because that is overwhelming. And sometimes even we go in and look at, maybe a very large closet, and I'm looking at the amount of time we have for this project, and I'm like, we're not taking everything out. We're going to flip through, remove what's unwanted or unneeded, and then maybe we can do some movement of large categories at the end, and that will make sense. I wanted to share some other considerations that can help feeling less overwhelmed and having success. Just dedicating the time. So having like a very clear dedicated time on your calendar, schedule it. Don't just wait for the feeling to strike, especially if it's not a favorite activity for you. Plan it out. Like, hey, I'm going to do it on Saturday. I'm not working. I've arranged babysitting for my kids, so they're not in the mix. You want to kind of remove all the distractions and things that are going to make it difficult for you to be successful. And then I do think it is very common to feel overwhelmed when you try to declutter a large area of your home. It's how often are you doing this? If you don't have a lot of experience at it, it is very overwhelming. You have to make a lot of decisions, and it's challenging. That's why you haven't done it yet, right? So think about what you will do, like have a plan for when you feel overwhelmed. Like kind of anticipate. I love going to IKEA. Do you guys go to IKEA? And you know how you go through IKEA and it's like, there's these memes and also my real life, right? You get halfway through the store, everyone's hungry, they're exhausted, they're thirsty, you're arguing about whether or not you should get this little desk to take home. It's not like it was in, online or in the magazine. There's a meltdown. Like, it's kind of like that. Like, I know that's going to happen when I go to IKEA. So how can we prevent it? You're going to feel overwhelmed at some point if you're trying to do a big decluttering project. So what's going to help you feel better? Like, have some good snacks ready. Have your water bottle with you. Make sure you're drinking enough water. When I started this work, I would get so excited. I would start right in. I would forget to drink water. And then a couple hours would go by and I'd be like, oh my gosh, right? Like, make sure you're drinking. I love phoning a friend because if you feel stressed or overwhelmed, like they can help. So maybe you're like, I'm going to declutter by myself for the morning. And then I've got my friend coming over for lunch. We're going to eat lunch together. And then she's going to help me do another strong couple of hours, giving you the thumbs up. And the other thing I would suggest is to take some before photos because you may feel like you're not making a lot of progress, but when you look back at those before photos, it will be like, oh my gosh, this is so much better. This is so much better. So that can kind of be really motivating and kind of bring you back to center if you're feeling overwhelmed. The other thing that sometimes we do, even as professionals, is if you're feeling overwhelmed or like not sure what to do next, fully removing the items that you've already made those decisions on can be really helpful. So like literally bagging up that trash, getting it out to the bin outside, the dumpster, wherever, getting those bags of donations or boxes of donations into your car or as close to it as possible. Sometimes that can just give you a fresh look at the space, and then you can kind of see what the next activity is. Sometimes it's even making that donation run. Like, hey, I'm going to do a load of drop off at the donation center and then come back and I'm ready for like the next piece or the next time. The last thing that I wanted to talk about a little bit is, even if you feel overwhelmed as you go through the process, again, common, normal, that would not surprise me. It is worth it to go through because on the other side, your home is going to feel less overwhelming. And I think it's, that's something like, why is that? It's something I've sort of wondered. But I think your house, this isn't my idea, this idea is out there. Your house is talking to you. So when you look around your house now, especially if there's clutter and it's not organized, a lot of times what you're seeing is unfinished business. It's unfinished projects, it's things you need to do, it's things you need to put away, it's bills that haven't gotten paid, papers that you don't want to forget about, stuff that needs to be on your calendar, items that need to be returned to the store, project that you started but got interrupted from. So it's all these things that are sort of calling to you as you look out over the room and your eye lands on these different things. You're getting this experience of being like, you should have done this. Wash me, pay me, organize me. Why didn't you put me away? All of that kind of stuff is weighing on your brain. So there is some thought. It's like by decluttering, by putting things away, clearing the surfaces, it's like you're quieting that constant calling out to do things. You're quieting that down. You're quieting your house. So even though it's going to be a difficult process and it always gets worse before it gets better because you're taking things out and fluffing up the clutter, it's going to get worse. But then when you get through it, it's all going to be worth it because you're going to be so much less overwhelmed. I hope this was helpful. Thank you for joining me for this video.